Let's talk about a revolution. I'm currently listening to Jerry Gray of Jerry's Take on China and Caleb Maupin, who is joined Jerry, and they're talking about revolution. So I want to point out something as I get more familiar with the actual real history. And I'm not an expert. I'm not claiming to be an expert, but the actual real history uh, of revolutions that have taken place in the world. Uh, so, China, for example, the Chinese communists, basically were forced into a kinetic, meaning physical, violent revolution. Uh, they had tried to do it by informing the proletariat or the peasants, uh, uh, giving them information that filled in context, educating them and so on and so forth. But they were forced into it from Chiang Kai-shek and his thugs, who were being backed by the U.S. imperial thugs and the European thugs. So, and China is where it is with its mixed economy, their market economy, which is geared towards serving the Chinese public or the Chinese population, which is actually in the Constitution, as it says, dictatorship by the proletariat, meaning the people. Cuba, the same thing. The Cubans wanted to be sovereign, to head towards socialism and communism, and again, they were forced into it, and had to use violence to fight the violence that was perpetrated against them. The Bolivarian Revolution, same deal. That's Venezuela, which, if I understand correctly, was the center of the Bolivarian Revolution. Then there's Nicaragua. Then there is the I can't think of the small country in Africa, but I think it's in northeastern Africa. It's Eritrea. That's it. So the same thing. This whole idea that you can do it peacefully when there are domestic factors that will use violence, and outside factors supplying the media, the weapons, the money, and interference to help those who are going to be the disruptive elements in the societies like in Africa and in Southeast Asia and everywhere else. We're starting to see it in we're starting to see that the whole nonsense of the U.S. Of non-interference is also being carried out in Europe with the so-called allies. Where there's political interference, economic interference, social interference, you name it. So I think people have to understand. You have, if you're trying to build a community, socialized community where everybody participates, everybody helps each other in a true community to advance your society, to cut the exploitation, the cheating and stealing and lying and exploitation and and basically the grab for resources and keep your society down. These are all from the West. This has been going on for 500 plus years. So, the only conclusion I've come to is that you do need a violent revolution. You do need to have that, because they're going to use it. And so, if you continue to try to through it by working in the system, when the system is ready and willing to use and will take the extremist actions, always the extremist actions of using violence to repress, suppress, and all that other stuff, and to hold on to power and control, then guess what? And on top of that, they use social and every other aspect to provide the division, to stoke the fears, to stoke the violence, and basically make the population ignorant, because they see confusion and chaos and so on and so forth. Of course, you're gonna need to use violence. But the question is who do you use the violence against? Well, you use the violence against the apparatuses that are promoting it, that are seeding the ignorance, that are seeding the division, that seeding the confusion and chaos. That's who you go after. It's my talks with fellow Americans is that that they seem to know who, but they also provide this thing of, they won't let you do it. That's just the way it is. And so, even though they've just gone over who's the one causing the chaos, who's the one causing the division, the fear mongering, And then they talk about community and helping friends and family and so on. Yet this is all part of the indoctrination and conditioning. It's a learned thing. It's this thing of basically despair that you've basically given up, and you'll continue to do it until you reach the point where there's so many of us who have reached the bottom that can't go any further. We've hit the ground, and we've done a little bit of digging ourselves in to the ground. Getting ready to dig a hole big enough that we'll end up getting buried under it. We can't reach that point, because then it's over. It's done. So people need to realize this and start to see with a clarity. And you may want peaceful revolution, you may want peaceful change, but the plain fact of the matter is, those holding the reins of power and control aren't going to give it up without a fight. So again, aren't going to give it up without a fight, and fighting means violence. It means kinetic. It means physical. So what you have to do, you can't say you're defending yourself if you're allowing the violence to go be perpetrated on you, and then you continue to make your efforts on these peaceful things when it clearly doesn't work. And the only time that it actually seems to have worked is, and that's a key word, seems, meaning the illusion, is that when they get hit financially, monetarily, and start losing controls in enough of the levers because of the mistakes they actually make. So their self-inflicted wounds that they've made onto their hold on power, right? And then they finally come to, oh, geez, I think we might have gone a little too far. I think we might have made too many mistakes. And that's been the case for the Vietnam War, for everything in history. They do it because they made the mistakes, and they come to realize, oh no, we have to backpedal. We have to think new ways, and we have to give so that we can build back up, and that's what the whole thing with the was it FDR and the New Deal. That was the whole thing. It wasn't because they were trying to provide. Try to provide for some of the population, because they largely provided for those of the white Western European descendants, but and maybe a smaller sector of the wealthier minorities, but it was largely for that, for the white, and they did that because they still want to keep levers of division, so that there will be tensions and between the population. They needed a other to blame, and so on and so forth. So people, when you come to understand this sort of stuff, you come to understand that all these so-called peaceful protests, even on these student campuses, just look at it. I mean, you have the so-called pro-Israelis who are on these campuses doing the violence, both verbal, physical, and otherwise, and the police are standing by and allowing it to happen. Now that should be pretty much obvious, and that the state, the power, is willing to allow this, and you can call it hypocrisy or whatever, but that's what they do. That's all. It's part of the playbook, and your police and your so-called security, national security. That's all they do. They're conditioned and indoctrinated to do that, and those that won't be conditioned and indoctrinated will be forced out from your national security, your police, and your criminal justice. They'll be forced out. That's how it works. That's how the pie is made, the cookie is made. Those are the ingredients that they use, the tactics, the playbook. And so the quicker people come to understand this, and the U.S. has a lot of guns, and unfortunately, a lot of those guns are owned by those who are indoctrinated and conditioned, to varying degrees. But one of the things that France and others have shown is that there is a partisanship among the people, like the French population, who will hypocritically say, well, the minorities were violent, even though they themselves, in the yellow vest thing, they use violence, the so-called violence, of graffiti, burning things on the street, ruining, vandalizing property, and so on and so forth. And the minorities minorities in France do that, right? And what did the French say? Oh, they're violent, and all they do. And that's, and the media starts it, but the so-called French who want a revolution, right? It can't, automatically for the others. It's not all of them, but a plural majority do that. So that's what I'm talking about in the United States, And people label them light. I don't do the right, left, center. Not anymore. I don't put into that bullshit. But they, unfortunately, they do. And why don't you come to realize this and realize how hypocritical? And that means you need to get clarity. You need to make you need to have clear thinking. You know, and ignore and work on ignoring the factors that make for division, and come together as a true community, and stop saying, "Oh, immigrants are taking on our jobs." Those are all things that are generated by those in power. They want the immigrants so that they can get the cheapest paid labor they can have, so they can make massive profits. You know, this whole thing of immigration. Even the people that like Jimmy Dore and others, you know, they even harp on this crap. You know, even though they've talked about the dynamics of how that works before, but then they seem to have forgotten. It's like they get amnesia and they put out crap. You know, so that's what people have to come to terms with, understand. You know, that's free thinking. That's clarity in thinking. And the only way you can do that is to stay on top of the ball, and to put the effort to learn. And let's face it, you know, I'm the I'm a so-called minority. And the thing is you know, it makes it hard for me to be proud or to want to support those who can't be consistent. You know, it can't be what's right for me is right for me, but it's not right for you know, others to do. You know, that's not a thing. You know, that's not a thing. It's that's. Basic natural laws is what's right for me is right for you. You know, what's good for me is good for you. Community isn't exclusive to your culture or your society or your traditions. You know, it's got to be because no matter where you come from in the world, one thing is basic natural laws is a common universal thing. As I always say, you know, it gets pretty basic. If I don't know you from a hole in the wall, and I want to take your life or take your kid or your money or your home and so on and so forth, or whatever you have, and I have social or backing or influential backing, or I'm able to spread whatever lie or excuse I want to make, and I can come over and do it to you. That's against basic universal laws. It's everybody can agree to that. That's what I'm talking about, basic universal laws. And so it can't be, you know, I can do it, but you can't. You know, it just doesn't work. So that's what people need to do. All right.